every time we design, we need to follow certain principles. A few years ago, I put them down in a list of principles that I define as the principle of meaningful design. The first two are what I call the foundational principles, the ones that somehow are behind anything else. The first of these two is what I call the human principle. The design should be useful, should be emotional, and should be semiotic. Useful meaning that should fulfill a specific need. For instance, I buy a car to move from A to B. I drink a beverage to hydrate myself. Emotional is about the relation that I may have with a product or with a brand. I buy a product because I really love it. I really love the fit of the jacket. I really love the engine of that car. Or it could be driven by a brand. I really love Pepsi. It's just, it's part of my childhood, or it reminds me of, amazing fun memories and gives me a smile. Or I really love a pair of Prada shoes, or that amazing Harley Davidson, and the feeling that it gives me just by looking at it. This is the emotional value. And then there is what we call the semiotic value. Is what the product or the brand say about you to the rest of the world. I love those crazy red shoes, and when I wear them, I'm telling the world something about my personality, my point of view. It could be the car I drive, it could be the clothing I'm wearing, but it could be also the books I'm reading, or the friends I surround myself with, or the design of my house, or my haircut. Anything is telling a story about me to the rest of the world. It could be driven by the product, once again, like in the case of the fit of the jacket, or it could be driven by the brand. The brand is saying something about you, about my mindset, about my material status, my wealth, or about my belonging to a certain community. So brands and products, or the connection of brands and products, are telling a story about us to the rest of the world. As designers, we do this. We design the utility of our products and brands. We design that intimate, emotional dialogue between products and brands on one side and users on the other. And then finally, we design the story that people are telling the rest of the world through the products and brands that surround them. This is the human factor, the human principle that we always need to keep in mind when we design anything, product, experience, services, brands, anything. The second principle, again, transcending everything and being the foundation of everything, is that our products, brands, experiences, services, our solutions in general, should be innovative, should be new, unique, differentiated, and extraordinary. It doesn't mean that every time we'll be able to do that, but we need to tend to that. That's the ideal design, something that didn't exist before we design it. Then there are a series of principles that I define as the enabling principles. So good design should be aesthetically sustainable, beautiful, avoiding any kind of visual pollution. We need beauty in the world and the value of beauty in the world. We are naturally attracted by beauty as human beings. It's part of the way our brain is wired by Mother Nature or by God, whatever or whoever you believe in. It needs to be functionally sustainable. It needs to be practical, efficient, ergonomic, convenient. So there is the functional component sustainable in time into your products or your solution. It needs to be emotionally sustainable. It needs to be engaging, stimulating, exciting. It needs to be intellectually sustainable. And what I mean with intellectually sustainable, well, it needs to be user-friendly, it needs to be accessible, it needs to be easy to use and easy to understand. It needs to be also socially sustainable. It needs to be respectful for diversity. It needs to be ethical. It needs to be honest. It needs to be trustworthy. And it needs to be all of this in the solution, in the output, in the product itself, as well as in the process to create it. It needs to be then ecologically sustainable, environmentally sustainable, and this is pretty self-explanatory. And finally, it needs to be financially sustainable. And many designers may think, wow, why are you talking about money? You are talking about design, you just ruin everything talking about money. Well, there is an ethical interpretation of this as well. If we're driven by creating solutions that have all the characteristics I just listed, so essentially if we're driven by creating value in the society, in the world, by creating something really important to better the life of people, to add meaning, to add different forms of value. It could be safety, it could be fun, it could be style, it could be convenience. But literally, if we're driven by the principle of meaningful design that I listed so far, then don't you want this product, this solution, to reach as many people as possible? Well, to do that, you need to build an alliance with the business world. And you need to make this product, these solutions, a financial success. You need to sell this stuff. You need to reach as many people as possible. So value number one of the financial sustainability is that you're reaching as many people as possible, and therefore you are creating as much value as possible. The second value is that once you create business value for your sponsors, the people that are investing in your idea, you are generating a loop in which these people will sponsor even more of your good ideas. And so financial sustainability is something extremely important. Then there are a variety of other principles that are really, really important in our innovation process, and they call them the principle to clarify specific misunderstanding that we have in our world, in the world of design, in the world of innovation. There are three. The first one is that good design, meaningful design, is relative. There is not the absolutely good design. It's all connected to the people we design for. So for instance, you may design a product that needs to be extremely ergonomic and user-friendly because this is what the specific target audience is looking for. And you may design the same typology of product, a couch for instance, a chair, to be instead very iconic, eventually not that comfortable, but really expressive. One product is not better than the other. They're both great if they're designed for the different specific needs of the people we're designing for. So good design is absolutely relative to the people we're designing for, and therefore everything starts with a deep understanding of people. Then good design is poetical, is expressive, is the translation of the sensitivity of the designer into the solution. So it's not objective. It's not the application of a process and then you get a result and that's all. It's not neutral. It's colored with the sensitivity of the designer. We can't forget this. in this world where we always talk about processes and tools, let's remember that each designer has a different, unique, sophisticated sensitivity that will come through into the design and innovation process. And finally, good design needs to be shareable. It needs to be a story connected to your idea. And this idea of storytelling should be almost a driver, a filter of your ideation process. When you think about a new product, a new solution, you should ask yourself, okay, what is the story I'm telling to my users through this product? Not just because this is going to be then part of your communication strategy, but mostly because every solution that we create, that we ideate, that we design, that we produce has a meaning. And that's what we do. We create meaning for people. People looking for different kind of solutions for their problems. They're also looking for, therefore, the meaning of that solution in their life. And this is what we do as designers.